let's do this thing. So first off, thank you for being on this call. I know it's been a while. I've been hitting you up trying to do this, but honestly, like, I feel like it's so important for people to be able to see a remote online notary who's actually making real money. Like, that is the question I get for every video I have, no matter what the video is talking about. People are like, can you actually make money being a remote online notary? Seems really expensive. It doesn't seem worth it. And I'm like, no, you really can. It's just you don't see it, right? It's like nowhere on YouTube are you seeing that person that's like, oh, you know, I'm making $10,000 a month as a Ron. Like, you see that with mobile signing agents. You see that with everything else. You just don't see that remote online notary work. And honestly, I think you're one of the first people that I've met that's actually making some really good money doing remote online notary work. So wanted to bring you on here. I appreciate your time, first and foremost. Yeah, so just give me your story. How did you get into remote online notary work? How long have you been a notary? All that.
So my journey started, my mother's actually a notary. She was a notary for like 20 years. Even back when she asked me to become one, I'm thinking old school $5 stamp. Like, I'm not feeling that. So I regret not going down that path. Mm-hmm. And then I remember I saw a commercial and, some dudes, talking about notaries. And I was like, okay, so I did some research. Now, given that my mom is when I had slight advantage, and I was like, talk to her for a quick second, like, Mom, give me a breakdown of what's going on. And then when she told me, yeah, this is what I do, I was like, okay. And then I watched this seminar. You know how, the sad thing about seminars is they give you, what they call, like, the cookie crumb, the bread crumbs, but they don't give you.
Come back. Exactly. Yeah.
I did my research and I was like, all right, I figured out what was going on. And I refused to take the course. So I went down to the source. I went to the NNA and I started from there. And then from that point on, I have an IT background. So I was like, okay, I'm seeing paper, printer, I'm thinking startup expenses, and I'm seeing traveling. I'm kind of a homebody, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do, but that money was calling me. It was like, oh, they're making this closing. I'm like, all right, I might have to get my tail up out of here. And then just by chance, to be honest, I don't even remember where I saw remote notary, online notary, i.e. Ron from. Somewhere I picked up on it. It might have been YouTube, and I just went down a rabbit hole from there. And then from that point on, I got on the NNA website, took the courses, read the books, and voila, I'm a Ron. The crazy thing is, this happened like right around COVID when it first hit.
Yeah.
I thought I was late in the game. Like, I'm hearing Ron's been out since early 2000s.
Yeah, like 2010 in Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I heard like 16 is when we were like legal here. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get until, 20? Yeah. 2020. I'm thinking I'm late to the game, only to find out how far of ahead of the curve I was. Because of COVID, it just took off exponentially from that point.
But first of all, I didn't know you had an IT background. And it's like the most fitting thing, because I always find myself being like a part-time IT person when I'm doing remote online notary work. Because people are always like, how does my camera work? Like, how do I turn the sound up?
It's the number one headache on any platform.
Do you have that? Have you had that problem, like just trying to get somebody through to the actual signing itself? Like, that's what I found to be the hardest part.
I lose 10, 15, 20 minutes of the prep of the start time right off the bat with the camera situation. Either the, so again, because of pre-COVID, no one cared about the laptop camera.
Exactly.
So the quality doesn't match. The cell phone cameras have constantly improved over time. Now that COVID's hit, we're having to resort to the cell phone as far as taking pictures of people's ID in the first place. Mm-hmm. And some of these platforms, what they need to do is get with the program and say, let's start with the camera. Don't even worry about the built-in laptop camera, because it's trash anyway.
Yeah. So,
you gotta come through it, and that comes from like my old customer service days. Walking people through the phone, like, hey, I gotta show you how to fix your computer. It's the same thing. You gotta check settings in people's cameras.
I'm like,
Gotcha.
let's restart it. I'm like, let's just restart, restart your computer. We'll start from the beginning.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you think, like you said, you're actually ahead of the curve when it comes to RON. So like, what do you think the future of RON is? Because I'm sure with your experience, it's like a lot of title escrow companies are not on board yet.
So it's here to stay.
Yeah.
I actually saw an NNA speaker, and I can send you the clip because I use it in part of my advertising. When I'm trying to get a new prospect, I have a clip, and he's talking about the remote notaries here to stay. It's convenient, when you're
Yeah.
closing a loan and you're worried about number one COVID or two time. There's nothing else out there that can match that. Even for me, because as you know, mobile notaries, you got to get paid for distance and you got to get paid for last minute. If some title company hits me up and I don't care how much money they send you, sometimes you're like, I'm not doing it. I'm not
Yeah.
driving 2 hours away or it's 10 o'clock at night. I'm done. As a remote notary, I'm way more flexible with that. I can get hit up 15 minutes, an hour and be like, hey, I need this done. It could be 12 o'clock at night. If I just got to walk to my desk, off my couch or out of my bed and prep the document and send it out, then I have no problem with that.
Oh yeah.
So
And
it's
you're like a night owl because I feel like you do signings at like 1 a.m., 3 a.m. So I feel like you
I
like
do.
that anyway.
That's the beauty of remote notary.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Right.
that's the beauty of it. You can pick the hours you want to do. Some people are early birds and they can get up, 5 a.m. and start, and others they might not start until 5 p.m. go all night just because you're notarizing around the world.
I wanted to talk about your mentorship program and how you started that and why you wanted to start that because I know that you have that.
It came out of necessity because I
Yeah.
was getting hit up so many times with people saying, how do you do this? I don't know what's going on. And I just put myself in their shoes and I'm like, I hated the journey when I became one.
Oh,
I said, there's no information out there. So let me organize a curriculum, put it out there. And I wasn't even sure people were going to, hit me up for it, but it seems to be, I've been pretty busy taking with as far as helping people out. And that's part of who I am, my nature of helping people pass things along because, whether it's in our community in general or just, new technology, some people are just afraid of it and don't understand it. I've even had experienced notaries who are mobile, traditional notaries who have no clue about the online situation or the remote situation or the electronic situation in general. And I'm trying to educate them because I'm like, don't get caught up like, we heard about the taxi cab company with Uber and stuff like that. And so you don't want to get left behind. So for me, it was like, all right, I'm going to put this stuff together because I know what I went through. I don't want the next person to have to go through the same journey. Let me smooth this out and expedite it and pass along. And to be honest, it's a lot of people don't know when you study your notary, what is it? The loan signing section 10.3, it literally says you must help your fellow notary and pay it forward. It's 10.3. It's in there. It's in the code of conduct.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And give us the information. What's it called? How can they reach you? All of that. And I'll definitely link, of course, everything in the description.
So I'm on Calendly.com/nosy advisor, and that's KNO letter Z advisor/remote notary. You can hit me up for an appointment there. The stuff I talk about that I cover is how to become a RON, remote notary basics on any platform, teach you what, the difference between a contractor and an independent, marketing for your business. There's some specific resources that I recommend as well.
Yeah, the marketing for your business. Now that is like the number one question I get. So that is very valuable information. So again, I will link all of that because like people ask that all the time. It's a little bit different marketing like your remote online notary business than it is like when you do it mobile, right? So I can definitely see why that would be like super helpful. So of course I want to be respectful for anybody who's actually going through your mentorship program and making sure not to like ask you questions that you then go over for that. But of course, the most important one that I have to know, the money. We're going to talk the money. How do you make your money? Have you found that it's lucrative, and kind of like, what are your average earnings? Kind of go through that with me.
I'm full-time notary.
How many hours is that for you?
So, okay, well, see, that's the beauty of it. It all depends on your jobs. We have to break it up from, I don't have a set hour. Like, I just work random, but like you said, I'm a night owl, so I'm up, late at night working, because I'm closing in 4 different time zones. I'm closing in Eastern, I'm closing in
Central, Pacific,
and then we go into GMT, when we're doing around the world. So the hours you can put in, like, if we break it down to like a platform like Notarize, right?
Yeah.
I'm averaging like on a lazy, when I say lazy, on a trimmed down work ethic, I can still pull in $1,000.
Say that one more time. You can pull in how much?
$1,000 a week on a
$1,000 a week.
Yeah, that's being conservative. That's not like going hard in the paint, working 8-12 hours or whatever. That's just kind of cruise control. And because I'm in the middle of, I have mentorships that I'm scheduling. I have independent contract stuff that I'm doing as well. So I give you the breakdown for that. Like the ROM platforms like Notarize, you're getting $5, and you're looking at it like, yo, this is not worth my time. But it's the volume, right?
Yeah.
They're coming in, and I had, like, when I first, you have to pass all these different tiers on their platform in order to make more money and to get to the loan signing situation. So for me, I said, okay, you need 50 calls. So yeah, I think when I started out, I just, I was just happy to work. So I worked from, sun up to sundown. So I might have worked, 12 hours one day and 8 that, but that was just for like the 50. Once I got past the 50, they put me in this other queue called the business queue. And these things are coming in fast and furious. Again, these are $5. And I had I went hard. I think I had maybe I had 1 week. That's not average, but 1 week I had like $1,000 in 1 week at $5. But after that, it never happened again. Even at the $5 mark, I was averaging, I don't know, about $400 a week doing that.
Wow.
And then once you move to the real estate, that's when it's a game changer, because you're getting $25 a closing, and it's still kind of, in the bigger scheme of things, it's in the Ron world, it's kind of peanuts, but that's what kicked me to like $2,000 in 1 week doing those on the run. And you have the screenshot, you can see. I give you like to let you know that it's the real deal, because I do get questioned about that a lot. They're like, well, what are you doing? So these are some of the things that I go over in my training course. I show you the tips and tricks on what you need to do to kind of maneuver yourself and have an advantage of taking calls specifically on that platform. Some of them will work with all of them because of, there's a technical aspect of it. Then you have your independent where you make the most money. And that's like any other business. You have to hustle. You have to advertise. You have to, knock on doors and stuff like that. But you're going to get a bigger cut because, I might have a job for, $100, $200. And, once you give your cut to the ROM platform, I'm still making out pretty good. But I don't have to, bust tail, because there's a difference between working on a ROM platform that gives you, $25 per cut versus something 120 or whatever for that job. So, but it all adds up, for
100%. Yeah, so like you're saying, with Notarize, of course, they give you clients and you get like a smaller amount, $5 if you're in the general notary bucket, $25 in the loan signing. And people are like, well, $25 versus the $150 I may get by being mobile. But like you said, it's a volume game. You get so much volume and you didn't have to do anything. They just came to you. So that ends up like adding up. But then, of course, like you said, if you have an independent platform as well, you can bring your own clients, then you can get all of that money. But of course, you have to then market yourself, and that's just part of the business. But like I said, it all adds up. Does Notarize, how often does Notarize pay out?
It's your choice. You can get paid every week, every month, or every day. It's your choice.
Oh, oh yeah, it's through Stripe, right? Is there like transaction cost to like cash out, like 50 cents, 25 cents? No. Okay, Notarize.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Heck yeah. Now, of course, I want to ask, like, what are some things, or that you just think like every remote online notary person should be aware of? Like, what are some general things that you think everybody should be aware of?
Preparation is the key. And this goes back to even being a traditional mobile notary, because you don't have this luxury when you're dealing with clients coming in on the queue, on the fly like that. You get a loan document, you got to figure it out and kind of get acclimated real quick, what it means, title, quick explanation, stuff like that. When you get a document or a job from like a signing service or a title company, you get those documents ahead of time.
Yeah.
You can sit down and go through them. And it's no different. You're just doing it electronically versus if you had it on paper and you got your little sticky tabs and, setting it up to where the customer needs to sign here, sign there. You get to look up, what does this document mean? Do I have to check? All that stuff.
Exactly.
You don't get to do online in the contractor space. You do get it in the independent space though. So that's the biggest thing. Preparation. As a Ron, in general, I would say know your state codes and your state laws. That's number one, because I've seen some Rons get in trouble because they were doing a lot of legal stuff, and a lot of it they were doing it inadvertently, like they weren't intentionally doing it, unintentional.
Okay, so preparation is the key. You're right, and you can prep documents, but I know like some platforms let you prep within, some don't. Like when it comes to prepping documents, how do you do that?
Adobe.
Do you prefer Adobe versus just going with the like document prep within a platform?
Yeah, the reason why is because if you prep on a platform and the session ends for whatever reason, internet connection, the customer has to cancel, then all your work is gone. It's not saved.
What kind of stuff do you prep ahead of time? Like what will you put on documents?
I'll put the venue, i.e. city, county. Mm-hmm. I'll put everything, pretty much any pre-filling from what I need from the client. Sometimes there's witnesses and the signatures and stuff like that. Not the signature, but the witness's name.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything except the notary stamp, my signature, and the customer signature. Everything else is fair game. I'll prep. Everything else I'll put on as much as possible.
It's that quick then. So by the time you're in the signing, it's just like in and out.
Right.
I want to, of course, I don't want to ask you your favorite remote online notary platforms because I know you go through that in your mentorship program. But I'll ask you, which companies do you tend to avoid? Or if you don't want to say the specific company name, what things do you see in a company that would make you avoid it?
I don't mess with Signex. I don't mess with DocuVerify. And the reason why is because I just feel when they hit you over the head with their startup costs, and the whole point of us trying to get in is to make money. So it's like, oh yeah, give me $4 million to sign up. I'm like, well, if I had the $4 million in the first place, I probably wouldn't be here. I'll be doing that, and they nickel and dime you to death. Like for instance, some of the ones that I use, if the session fails, then that's it. No one gets charged.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the rest of them, they charge you anyway. That's on you. That's your bad. And I don't think that's right,
I know. I have like failed KBAs and all of that. And I'm like, oh no.
Right. And then one thing I did learn dealing with some international clients, if you're depending on, who they are overseas, they have to get into that too. Because I've had clients in China, and I'm like, are they, if they're Chinese, do they have any American ties? Or do they live here or whatever? Or are they 100% in China mainland, and then they can't pass the KBA.
Exactly.
You got to figure something else out with that. You know?
Yeah, so that's actually a great segue. So notarizing documents for people in other countries. So I know we had this situation. So backstory, of course, somebody hit me up. They're like, hey, I have a client. They're in the country of Georgia and they need these documents signed. And I'm like, I'm not the one for it. I've never done one for somebody who's in a different country yet, even though I know that's like a benefit of Ron. So I was like, Shawn, listen, do you want this? Like, do you want to take it? And you're like, sure, take it. But I know it's an experience. So what was that experience like? Just walk us through that.
That was hilarious because you said Georgia, and I was joking. I was like, so you mean Georgia, the country, or Russia? And you like, all caps, Russia. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to the next one. So for that one, what happened was they needed a witness. They didn't realize it at first, but I was looking at, that's one thing. You look at the documentation. I said, okay, we're going to close these loans, and there was closing loan, power attorney, and some kind of trust document. And this was their first time. They were, Ron newbies as far as being a signer. They had no clue. So I had to walk them through the process, how it worked. We did like a practice run. Once that was down pat, they still had problems with the camera in the beginning. That took a minute. Once that was okay, I didn't require that for the actual witnesses. I prepped the hell out of that document, beforehand, because I literally had to have a pre-call. I sent them an email first saying, hey, these items are missing.
Yeah.
Hit me back. I didn't get anything because they had a day job. They were working. And that's okay. We're going to have a pre-call and talk about this before we get online on the platform. So we had a conversation, and I said, I need A, B, and C missing data. I put them in there, and then we uploaded the document to the platform, sent them the invite, boom, got on this. They go through the KBA, they signed it. I verified their ID, and then we shut it down. And I notarized and shut it down, and we're out the gate. And, it was another satisfied customer. They were happy to the point where they're like, yeah, my sister's been looking for a notary, and now you built a rapport and established a future clientele as far as coming back to you.
Oh,
so I get information. So that's how that went. It was, like I said, it was middle of the night when you hit me up, and as a traditional notary, that wouldn't have happened. But as a Ron, it was no skin off my neck with that. I just got online, prepped it, talked to him, and we tried to reschedule it for later in the morning. I actually had another appointment, so I couldn't do it. But we worked it out. But that's the convenience of being online. It's just I ain't got to go nowhere. I got to deal with catching up with people.
100%. Okay, so like two things come to mind from what you just talked about. So one, do you recommend that everybody try to make sure, like you said, we're prepping, get on the phone with people, kind of walk through it, or get all the information beforehand? Do you try to minimize the amount of time you're actually on the platform as much as possible?
Yeah, I try to make that experience as smooth as possible for both sides, myself and the signer. The perfect scenario is you get a document, you look at it. If it's all filled out, perfect. If it's not, email them and say, hey, I need A, B, and C. You add that. And then when you get on the platform, you just sign here, sign there, and then you're done. That's typically how it should go, no matter on the independent side.
Yeah, 100%. And then you talked about IDs. Now, this was actually a question that somebody had when I polled my subscribers is, have you ever had a thing with fraudulent IDs? Now, I know the KBAs are supposed to help with that, right? But have you ever had something where you thought about fraudulent IDs or fraudulent documents or anything like that?
The most, I haven't had any specifically fraudulent IDs, but the thing I run into the most are expired IDs.
Yeah.
You have to because of COVID, there are some states that allow you have to look them up and figure out what is it. I'll basically go to their DMV website of whatever state and confirm if there's an extension or not. Some of these clients, they don't know. Some of them try to get over. They know, they just want to see. Fraudulent might come in. What they'll do is they'll box in, cut off the
expiration date, something like that. Yeah.
Those are ones that are pretty obvious that I've run across, or it's peeled and dark, and looking crazy. Those ones are pretty obvious. Other than that, I don't get a lot of fraudulent. It's just more expired, and either they know or don't know.
100%. So would you say, if somebody had to ask you right now, is it worth being a Ron? Can you make money? Can it be lucrative?
Yes. Yes, and I give you the demographic of it. If you're a college student, jump on as fast as you can, mobile or Ron, whichever one. If you're looking for some extra cash, i.e., side hustle,
yeah,
and you're satisfied with your career and you just want to throw some extra cash in, definitely become a Ron. And then if you're trying to do this as a career change and do it full time, you should definitely take that path. I don't have any regrets on any level, and from what I see, you just have to again make sure it's the personality fit.
100%. Well, first of all, Shawn, thank you so much for coming on, for talking. Thank you for sharing your experience. I will definitely make sure that people know how to reach out to you. Whoever's watching this, if you have questions for Shawn, look at the link in the description for his information. But yes, thank you so much again. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. Save the video, sell on NFT, because you may not see another one.
NFT, for sure. All right, Shawn, appreciate it.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, for sure.